Hello everybody, so I want to talk about elite specializations and which one you should be playing on the Ranger. So we're going to be going over all three elite specializations and kind of just giving a little bit of thoughts on it in terms of how or which ones you should play based on the kind of play style that you want. Ranger, just to give a little bit of backstory of me and Ranger's my main. I've been playing Guild Wars for, actually in a few days it's going to be 2 years now, and for about a year and a half, I've been maining Ranger as my, main character. So I know a lot about this class. The only thing I don't really know a whole lot about is Druid because I don't really like that kind of playstyle. So what we're gonna do is go over the playstyles first. That way you can kind of get a sense for what you would want, and then we'll go over each of the specializations a little more in depth. This isn't going to be a hugely in-depth video. This isn't going to be a build video either. I have other build videos on my channel. But you could also check out metabattle.com. I base a lot of my builds on metabattle stuff, so if you want to see probably what would be better builds than what I have, just go to metabattle.com and you can see whatever build you want. There's Ranger stuff and there's all the classes. So let's go ahead and start off with the Druid. So the Druid is going to be heavily focused around supporting your allies and doing healing and shit like that. So let's go ahead and put on the weapon for the Druid here. So the damage numbers, I'm in a PvP lobby right now, so these are not going to be reflective of PvE at all. So I just wanted to go ahead and mention that. Typically, you do not really use much glyphs on the Druid. These kind of skills, you're typically really tied down to using spirits. So you'll typically, I don't even know why I put that on. Typically, you will run this sort of setup here where you run oh yeah, I forgot. It's usually better to use skirmishing, for the spotter buff. But typically you'll use water spirit, frost spirit, and shit like that. Then multiple different spirits. These are essentially like totems from like World of Warcraft and shit. So yeah, you get a staff here. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's mostly just focused around supporting and healing allies and all that shit. So Soulbeast is going to be a phenomenal option for damage. It is currently the highest damage build on the Ranger right now you can go with. And this build here is just for like solo content. I wouldn't copy, like I said, don't copy down my shit. I would go on to my other videos or go to Metabattle. Just wanted to mention that again. Soulbeast is a phenomenal option for that because of the fact that you can merge with your pet. And essentially just completely get rid of the whole pet mechanic. Now don't worry, there's another elite specialization where you could play with your pet more, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Typically you're going to merge with a Rockazel or a Red Moa, those are like meta choices, and you basically gain access to a few new skills here. You also get access to the Dagger, which can be used in either power or condition damage. And you have like 3 skills here. This skill is based around the archetype of your pet. So basically, Worldly Impact is a really high damage ability for the Ferocious archetype, which is typically what you're going to be using on power builds. If you're on condition, I don't really typically know. I think people merge with the Iboga, or like, I think it's the Warthog too, people merge with sometimes. But yeah, you'll get Primal Cry for the deadly stuff, and you'll get plenty of different you'll get like this heal skill right here for the supportive archetype. So yeah, what's really cool is that you gain access to a whole lot of new skills. So you'll get access to like families of skills. So we have like the Tiger here. I'll go and switch to the Tiger, and then there's a cooldown there. Fuck. And you'll basically get access to a lot of different skills depending on the pet that you choose. It's actually crazy the amount of skills that you get access to. You can actually see them on the bottom here as well. Whenever you are going over a pet, you could just get a quick view of it. But yeah, that's typically how it's played. It's not really played at all with your pet out. It's typically merged 24/7. I wanted to go ahead and mention that. Because before the recent expansion End of Dragons, if you wanted to play with your pet, there was really no viable option. I mean, there was Core Ranger, but that was only ever useful for like open world stuff. But if you wanted to play endgame content on the Ranger, you had to play Soulbeast and you had to merge. We have a new option now though, which is the Untamed, which yes isn't exactly meta right now, but it is perfectly viable for most PvE content, so you could really use it wherever you want. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. People will make it seem like it's like terrible and the unplayed and all that. It's really not that bad, in my opinion. It's not like terrible. It's definitely good. I mean, I'm sure they'll buff it up in the future. Like in June of 2022, they're going to be doing a big balance patch. So I would highly expect a rework of Untamed at that point. But yeah, typically how you will play this Elite Specialization is by really going in on melee damage. So we have two skills here, Frost Trap and Exploding Spores. These are in melee range, sort of like traps in a way. So you have this regular trap, this Frost Trap, and then you have kind of a trap. It doesn't set off whenever an enemy comes in, but it is sort of like that AoE thing you set down and sort of set and forget sort of thing. Yeah, so this one's actually really focused around your pet more. You basically get access to the Unleashing system, which it really does kind of revolve around this Vow of the Untamed sort of buff here. So Vow of the Untamed will increase your outgoing strike damage while you're unleashed, and you also will take reduced damage from strikes while your pet is unleashed. So you're going to be taking... well, this is the PvP numbers right here, but in PvE, it's 25% more damage while you're unleashed, and while your pet's unleashed, you'll be taking 25% less damage, which is absolutely huge. Just wanted to mention that. So if you do want to like build around your pet and stuff, this is going to be a great one. Like I said, it's typically focused a little more around melee damage, but you still could play it with the longbow if you wanted to. It's perfectly viable to do so. I see a lot of Untamed players in the world rocking longbow and hammer. So yeah, you know, the Unleashing system gives you 3 new skills. Now, unlike Soulbeast, at this current time that I'm speaking, it's the same 3 skills on here throughout the entirety of the all the pets and stuff. So it's not like Soulbeast where they put in a lot of effort with being able to use different skills and have archetypes and stuff. Hopefully they'll do that in the future. I'm really hoping so, because right now it's kind of boring unleashing your pet. But fortunately, most of the time you will be unleashed yourself. And you'll kind of just swap in, use these 3 skills because of the fact that you get this unleashed power thing, which means the next time you unleash yourself, you get access to an unleashed ambush skill. This is obviously where they put in a lot of the work. Each weapon has their own unique unleashed ambush skill that do different things, which is really, really cool. And yeah, Untamed personally is my favorite elite specialization. This is very focused around damage. As well as Soulbeast, it just does damage in a different way. It focuses around your pet a little more. And yeah, so there's really awesome traits on here. There's Ferocious Symbiosis, which makes you and your pet do 15% more damage, which is awesome. There's various boon and condition applications. Typically, Untamed is played in a power sort of format, but you can play it in a Condi format. The hammer is very, very focused around power damage, so you're not going to want to use this on the Condi build at all. Motherfucker, he brought this shit over. God, that's annoying. So I'm using Ferocious Symbiosis, but typically in endgame content you'll see people use Fervent Force, which basically whenever you disable a foe will reduce your recharge on all your skills by 4 seconds. In PvP it's 2 seconds, but in PvE it's 4 seconds. So I wanted to go and mention that. Really, really solid choice. Typically for the pets, you will be seeing Jacaranda and Iboga. Most of the time, you're going to want to keep the Iboga out. Now, for solo content, typically what I like using is the River Drake. River Drake is pretty tanky, does a decent amount of AoE damage, and it can cleave targets on its auto attack, which is super, super nice. But for endgame stuff, you want to keep the Iboga out as much as possible because of the fact that it does more damage depending on how much conditions are on a target. Now, unlike Mechanist, these pets do not scale off any of your stats. They are completely unique in their own stats, so you don't really have to worry about building, like if you want to have your pet do as much amount of damage as possible, you really would want to build into, you know, doing a lot of damage on the Untamed, or on Mechanist. On Untamed, you don't have that, which in my opinion is actually a bad thing, because it means the damage of the pet is going to be less than the Mechanist, but it's still really, really fun. The pets do a lot of damage, especially the Iboga. It does actually, I find, the auto attack on the Iboga on Arc DPS does the most amount of damage that I do. It's usually #1 in terms of all the damage that is on my Arc DPS. If not, it's going to be a little bit below that, but it does a ton of damage. One thing you'll also notice about Untamed is that it gets you access to all the pet skills to use manually. Now, this is actually a huge issue in my opinion, is that they really made it kind of an oversight. Hopefully they'll fix this and give it an auto cast function. I've talked about this a gajillion times before. I'm really hoping they allow you to auto cast at least the skills you could before. So before, if I were to play Soulbeast or Druid or Core, there would be 2 skills that are auto casted. So it would be Takedown, of course, the auto cast, which is still auto, or the auto attack, which is still auto casted on Untamed. Don't worry about that. And then Smoke Assault for the smoke scale, to be specific there. And we'll actually switch it to the River Drake because it'll be a little more consistent. Chomp and Tail Swipe would be auto-casted before, and then you'd be able to manually cast a Beast ability here. But the thing is with this is that all your skills are manually casted. So you have to micromanage your pet a little more, which is definitely a huge issue because you end up feeling like a pet's not this separate entity from you. You kind of feel like it's sort of just you in a way because you're still pressing its skills. I personally love pets in these kind of games because they do their own thing and they help you out with damage and stuff. I don't really like having to manually cast skills like that, but yeah, it is a bit of an oversight. I wish they would have that feature. I honestly don't know why they never did. It's such a weird thing to do. Considering all the elite specs before and all the specs in general were auto casting for the pet, you would think they'd at least give you an option. I don't know, really weird thing. But yeah, so basically, I think it's basically going to cover it. You play Druid if you want to play a really supporty playstyle. You play Soulbeast if you want to get rid of the whole pet mechanic and just merge of it 24/7 and do as much damage as possible. Soulbeast is your highest damage option. Or you play Untamed if you want to play with your pet more and just have your pet out 24/7. And yeah, and also for damage focus as well. It does seem like it could be tanky, but make no mistake, Untamed is a bruiser sort of damage dealer, where it is very tanky, but it's not supposed to be like a tank sort of class. It's supposed to be damage focused. So yeah, it just gives you more vitality and more survivability, as well as your ambush skill doing life siphon damage, which is very cool. And then doing way more damage while you're unleashed as well. So yeah, I think that's basically going to cover it. Like I said, I've done build videos on these, but I would recommend just going to meta battle if you want to look at like all the different builds and stuff, because it'll be a lot easier than just watching all my different videos or whatever. That'd be kind of a waste of time in comparison to just going to meta battle. So yeah, I think that's basically going to cover it. I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm in the PvP lobby because I don't have Druid unlocked on this character. I do on my other character. But yeah, and I also don't have all the pets on any of my characters, so I wanted to, like, show everything off that I possibly could. And yeah, that's gonna cover it. Peace.